Welcome to another session of Grade 9 Mathematics, Chapter 5, Introduction to Euclid's Geometry. Dear students, in this first part of the chapter, we shall deal with the introduction to the chapter as well as learn in detail about Euclid's axioms. Long year ago, formation of Earth took place, and many years later, humans evolved. Humans tried to measure land. This need to measure land gave birth to a new branch of mathematics called geometry. So, geometry is arrived from the Latin word. Geo means earth and metrin means to measure. But the question is geometry just to measure things? No, geometry is also about proving certain statements. This understanding of geometry was given by a great mathematician, Thales. He was the first mathematician to prove a statement. He proved that a circle is bisected by its diameter. The great mathematician Thales had many pupils, and one of them was a very renowned Pythagoras, who continued his work on geometry till late 300 BC. At the same time, around 300 BC, there lived another mathematics teacher named Euclid in Egypt. This picture gives an impression of the great mathematician or the great mathematics teacher Euclid teaching his students somewhere in Alexandria in Egypt. This impression was created by another great artist named Raphael. This mathematics teacher of Egypt named Euclid is now known as the father of geometry. He collected all the well-known facts and formed his famous treatise named Elements. This treatise Element had 13 parts, and each part was called a book. This picture is an impression of Euclid's famous work called the Elements. Euclid, in his famous work Elements, mentioned about properties of different geometrical shapes which need not be proved. Now the question is, how can the properties need not be proved? He concluded that there are properties which are obvious universal truths. Hence, the properties need not be proved. Now let us understand in detail these properties of geometry that is mentioned in Euclid's Elements, which are referred to as obvious universal truths. Let's understand them in detail. According to Euclid's geometry, properties could be of two types. One is postulates, the other one is axioms. Postulates are those assumptions which are made strictly on the basis of geometry. I repeat, postulates are assumptions which are made strictly on the basis of geometry. Whereas axioms are also assumptions, but were based on in general mathematics and not specifically based on geometry. So my dear students, now let us understand Euclid's axioms in detail one by one. So the first statement under Euclid's axiom is things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. I repeat, in his axiom he said, things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. For example, if A is equal to B and A is also equal to C. So what has happened over here? A is equal to B as well as C. Then what can we conclude? That B and C are also equal to each other. This was explained in the above statement as part of Euclid's axiom. Now let us get into the second statement of Euclid's axiom. The next axiom of Euclid states that if equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. I repeat, if equals are added to equals, the wholes are also then equal. Let us try to understand this. Say we have A is equal to B and C is equal to D. So these are our equals. A is equal to B and C is equal to D. It says if these equals are added to the equals, then the whole will be equal. That is, if A is added to C, the answer will be equal to B plus D. So that is written over here. A plus C will be equal to B plus D. So the second axiom was, if equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. Now let us get into the next axiom. The next statement is very similar to the second one. The third statement says that if equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are equal. I repeat, if equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are equal. So, as we did in the last statement, let's take the equals are A is equal to B and C is equal to D. Let us subtract these equals from one another. So, A minus C is equal to B minus D. You can also try to solve and understand this statement by putting values for A, B, C, and D. Let us get to the fourth statement as part of Euclid's axiom. It states that things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. I repeat, it states that things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. That means if I have got two objects and I overlap them with each other and they completely cover each other or they coincide each other, that means they are equal to each other. For example, you can see I have got two rectangle boxes over here. So if I keep one over the other, I am very sure that they will coincide each other. Hence, I can conclude that these two rectangles are equal to one another. Similarly, I've got two triangles. You can see if I actually keep one triangle over the other one, they would coincide one another. Hence, these two triangles are also equal. Similarly, with these circles, if I try to keep one over the other, they would exactly coincide with one another. Hence, these circles would also be equal. Coming to the fifth axiom, it states that the whole is greater than the part. We know this is a universal truth, that the whole would always be greater than the part. For example, let's take this figure. You have got a complete circle, the whole circle. And this pink portion, say, is a part of this circle. It's very clear that this circle, which is the whole, will always be greater, will always be larger than the part of that circle. So this was Euclid's axiom number 5. Let us get into Euclid's axiom number 6. It states that things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. I repeat, things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. So let us understand. Let us say we have got two same things, that is A and B. The statement says that if I've got two same things, the double of the same things would also be equal. So 2 times A will be equal to 2 times B, as I've mentioned over here, if A is equal to B. So if I've got two things same, equal, then the doubles would also be equal. Similarly, in axiom number 7, it says that things which are halves of the same things are equal to one another. Very similar to axiom number 6. Say I have got two things which are equal to one another, that is A is equal to B. The statement says that the half of A will be equal to then half of B also. That is, if A is equal to B, then half of A will be equal to half of B. So this was the 7th and the last axiom of Euclid that you should be aware as far as grade 9 chapter 5 is concerned. Dear students, so I hope that you have understood all the 7 axioms of Euclid. Please note that these axioms need not be written in this order. You can change the order of the axioms if you have been asked to write the Euclid's axiom in the examinations. Dear students, I believe you have enjoyed this session of Introduction to Euclid Geometry. Euclid, the great mathematician, is an inspiration because he found mathematics in everything that was around him. He famously quoted that the laws of nature are the mathematical thoughts of God. With this quote, we come to the end of this session. I believe you have understood and enjoyed today's session. Take care of yourself until we meet next time with the next session of chapter 5. Thank you.